if you're subscribed to Netflix, or alternatively if you indulge in a bit of casual online piracy, you may well have seen the big budget fantasy series The Witcher, described by my mate John as Game of Thrones if you bought it from Aldi. Now I have to say I enjoyed the series, but it wasn't without faults. First of all, it is so desperately trying to be the new Game of Thrones. Secondly, one of the characters, the minstrel, who I think is called Jaskier or Yaskier, he's there to provide comic relief, but I found him intensely irritating. Several times throughout the series I was hoping someone would just stick an axe through his fucking head. But these faults were more than compensated for by the character Yennefer the Sorceress, played by Anya Chalotra. And what I liked about that character is, in these modern times where there's so much focus on diversity and inclusivity, it was great to have an actress who's got both Indian and British heritage getting her tits out, because she's got an amazing rack on her. But the show was also coming for criticism from the American novelist and critic Andrew Klavan, because he was upset that the fight scenes weren't realistic, because in his words, 0 women can use a sword. Now I'm guessing Mr. Klavan hasn't seen the Chinese film Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, with arguably the best sword fighting scene ever committed to celluloid. And also, from my own experience, when I was a younger man, my sport of choice was fencing, so I can testify there are plenty of women who know how to use a sword. But trying to clarify what he meant, he said it's possible that a woman who is trained to use a sword could kill a man who wasn't, but in a war situation the woman would die 100% of the time. And a direct quote from him, it's because men are much, much, much stronger. The guy's a fucking novelist. Much, much, much. Now, as much as I have to agree, in the majority of cases men are stronger than women, there are also women who are weightlifters or boxers or martial artists who could knock the shit out of the average bloke. Case in point, if you've ever watched the historical drama series Vikings, Lagertha is played by a Canadian actress called Catherine Winnick. She's also a master swordswoman, a martial artist, a choreographer, and she does most of her own stunts. Now I'm a big guy, but I'm fairly certain I wouldn't last 30 seconds up against her, although part of me would probably quite enjoy it. I'd ask, Catherine, I bet you can't choke me out by putting your thighs round my neck. If you could do Lagertha's accent at the same time, that'd be greatly appreciated. But the weird thing with this complaint from Mr. Klavan is that the fight scenes are unrealistic in a fucking fantasy series. He's got no issue with mutants, dragons or fucking wizards. And I spend a lot of time ripping the piss out of third wave feminists who go around saying that every man's a bastard, but it turns out there are a few of us who are still living in 1971. But I believe I've come up with the solution. All that needs to happen for this chap who says 0 women can use a sword, you need one woman who's handy with a blade to challenge him to a duel. In fact, I can do that. It's 2020 now. All I have to do now is say I identify as a woman, and magically that makes me female. So I'm more than happy to go home, get my broadsword and fuck him right up.